Hello everyone, welcome to Career Launcher. So in today's class, we are going to discuss the Hindu analysis for 23rd April 2026. This we are providing it as a recorded video. I'm sure you must be aware. This week actually Govind sir is on leave, so I'm taking the classes. So today is 23rd April and today is Thursday. And आज 23 April Thursday है. And this is the class that we are going to discuss today. So voting for all 234 Tamil Nadu seats begin and phase 1 in West Bengal today. So I'm sure you must be aware. So Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly has total. So I'm sure the election is of Legislative Assembly because this is direct voting. Direct election happens here. And the members of Legislative Assembly are called as MLAs. So in Tamil Nadu, there are 234 seats. And in one phase, actually, today the entire, that is 23rd April, the entire election, all the voting will happen for 234 seats for the state of Tamil Nadu. Okay. So if there are 234 seats and if you want to make your chief minister, you need how much MLAs? Legislative Assembly members are called as MLAs. So you have to cross the half mark, means 234 divided by 2 is actually 117. And you have to cross the half mark, means you need 118 MLAs of your party. Either your party or you can get alliance support. Then only you can have your own chief minister. That is the idea behind this. This we are talking in context of Tamil Nadu. Okay? This has to be very crystal clear. Now when it comes to West Bengal, so only phase 1. So actually West Bengal will be having elections in two phases. Phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1, 23rd April. And phase 2, as far as I remember, it is on 29th April. Okay. So it will be in two phases. The elections will be happening in West Bengal. And I'm sure you must be aware by this time, you must be knowing what is EVM, what is VVPAT. EVM is electronic voting machine. This is EVM. And on the side you must have seen there's a box also like this. This is called as VVPAT, voter verifiable pair audit trial. So here there is actually a box where so VVPAT, actually the idea is whenever you are pressing any button, let's say you are voting for X party. I'm just giving example. So this X will be shown here for 7 seconds, right? That okay, you are voting for this party. That's called as VVPAT and a voter verifiable paper audit trial. That is what you should know. Each polling station will have 2 cameras and the proceedings will be webcast live. That is what you should be knowing about. Now, so you can see it here. Yes, this was the election commission schedule. So Assam, Kerala, Puducherry, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal. And there are by-elections in 6 states. By-election means if someone dies, for example, let's say MLA is supposed to be elected for 5 years. And that MLA dies after 2 years. So mid-term election, that's called as by-election. Okay. So in 6 states, by-elections are also happening. Or let's say member of parliament dies or resign. So there is a vacancy. So that vacancy needs to be filled. So for that, we are calling it as by-elections or mid-term elections. Okay. So the state of Tamil Nadu, 23rd April, and phase 1 of Bengal also in 23rd April, voting is happening. And I'm sure you must be aware, it should be declared as dry day. So whenever election happens, on the election date, even if in that state, liquor is not banned, still on that day, liquor cannot be sold. Section 135, Clause C of Representation of People's Act 1951 says, no spirituous, fermentor, or intoxicating liquors. For example, if you talk about Bihar and Gujarat, like these are states where already actually the complete ban is there. Article what's called as 47 has been fully implemented. But in states where actually those are not dry states where the alcohols are allowed, but at least on the day of election, there cannot be no liquor shop should be open. And I'm sure like you can understand the reason why it is so, because otherwise like there can be chances of violence or anything, something like that. So, or something like no liquor shops, hotel, restaurant, clubs, and other establishments selling or serving liquor shall be permitted to sell the liquor. मतलब ऐसे होटल शॉप्स रेस्टोरेंट खोल सकती है, बट वहां शराब वाले जहां शराब बिकती हो वो नहीं अलाउड होगा. दैट इज व्हाट द आइडिया इज. ठीक है, दैट हैज टू बी वेरी क्रिस्टल क्लियर, है ना. Okay, let's move on to the next article on the first page. Iran seizes 2 ships hours after Trump extends truce. So I'm sure we had discussed that yesterday, 22nd April को हम लोगों ने डिस्कस किया था कि 10 day का सीजफायर खत्म हो रहा है. So America said we will have talks, etc. Let's come to Islamabad. So Iran said कि no. First, you actually open the Strait of Hormuz. You are actually the Iran said कि there is tension in Strait of Hormuz. America is blocking our ships, so we will not do any deal. So still Trump extended the truce by himself. ईरान ने कहा कि हम कोई डील नहीं करेंगे, ओके, लेकिन तो भी ट्रम्प ने एक्सटेंड कर दिया ट्रूस को. सो 22 अप्रैल से इंडेफिनेटली एक्सटेंडेड. Okay, so one Israeli vessel among the two had endangered maritime security, says IRGC. IRGC वही इस्लामिक रेवोल्यूशनरी गार्ड्स कॉर्प करके वही ईरान की जो शिप है, ठीक है. दैट्स व्हाट यू शुड नो. सो दिस इज वी हैव डिस्कस्ड इट है ना. दिस इज स्ट्रेट ऑफ हॉर्मुज. ये सब हम लोगों ने कई बार डिस्कस किया है, ठीक है. एंड हियर इज गल्फ ऑफ ओमान. I'm sure you must be aware. So there have been frictions in Strait of Hormuz and Gulf of Oman. Iran has seized 2 vessels, one of them affiliated to claim to be of Israel. According to IRGC, said on Wednesday, hours after US President extended the ceasefire. Indefinitely. And in date नहीं कहा कि हम 10 दिन के लिए extend कर रहे हैं. We are extending it. So Islamic Republic of Iran has said that it would not lift its restriction on Strait of Hormuz as long as US and Israel ceasefire violation continues. तो उनका कहने का मतलब है कि यूएस का सीजफायर वायलेशन हो रहा है. दे आर एक्चुअली कॉजिंग फ्रिक्शंस इन द स्ट्रेट ऑफ हॉर्मुज एंड दे हैव कैप्चर्ड आवर शिप्स एटसेट्रा ना. तो 2 वेसल्स जो है फ्रांसिस्का एंड इपामिनोड्स, these 2 were actually seized by Iran. That is what it was in the news. So these things were in the news, and Donald Trump has said, based on the fact that the government of Iran is seriously fractured, and upon the request of Field Marshal Asim Munir and Shehbaz Sharif, we have been asked to hold our attacks, etc. So Donald Trump said that we are stopping this, we are not going to attack, etc. We will continue our ceasefire. But Iran is not interested in the talks because Iran has said that first you should open the Strait of Hormuz. आप पहले Strait of Hormuz खोलिए, allow our ships to easily move, etc. Then we'll be having ceasefire. Okay, let's talk about editorial. India's post LWE future from red sun to new dawn. This is very important actually. Can you even tell me what is LWE? If you know it, I'll be very happy to know. So LWE means left-wing extremism. Okay. So basically, I'm sure you must be aware, this region in India, so the southern portion of Chhattisgarh, parts of the Pradesh, Telangana, Odisha, this region roughly is what we call it as LWE, left-wing extremism affected region. LWE लिखते हैं. So Naxalism and Naxalism, or what we call it as Maoism. ये अखबार में लिखा मिलता होगा, Naxalism or Maoism. This is nothing but in official terms it is called as left-wing extremism. ठीक है, LWE कहते हैं. और इस रीजन को ना कई बार कहते हैं रेड कॉरिडोर, है ना, ये सब वर्ड लिखा आता है. Because I'm sure you must be aware, the idea of Naxalism or Maoism, they flow from this is Maoism. Actually, Mao was a very famous, Mao Zedong, very famous leader from China. So they used to have red dress, red book. इनकी एक red book होती थी ना. He brought 1949 Chinese Revolution. So in his name, actually Maoism or Naxalism is there. So this region is very much affected by left-wing extremism, but it has reduced substantially. Okay. So ये बता रहे 14 years ago in West Midnapur district, even West Bengal वगैरह में था. Yes. किसी जमाने में even बिहार तक में था impact. There were impacts even in West Bengal, Bihar, etc. And I'm sure you must be aware, somewhere here, यहीं पे कोई पे एक जगह है बंगाल में, नक्सलबाड़ी district, where the incident happened, as far as I remember, 1967 or 69 somewhere. आप चेक कीजिएगा. And this is actually led to the word Naxalism from this Naxalbari district, somewhere around Darjeeling or somewhere. आप देखिए उस region के आसपास कहीं पर है. So the concept of Naxalism or Naxal word came from here, from that Naxalbari district. Naxalbari, it's a village, I think. ठीक है. So now it has been reduced to this region, but there was a time when Naxalism was up to even Bihar, Jharkhand, and parts of West Bengal also. तो इसी की बात करें, left wing extremism, young tribal girls often practice hockey with battle sticks, etc. ना. As Prime Minister, Rural Development Fellow, Ministry of Rural Development, our close works with the district manager in both the districts and many initiatives. ठीक है, ठीक. So ये example बता रहे कि 2009 में Mr. Manmohan Singh has said that identified LWE, left wing extremism, as the most serious internal security threat. सबसे बड़ा serious threat है. And so what so happened in 2010, a very unfortunate incident happened where CRPF 76 CRPF Jawan had lost their lives. In the last 2 decades, this was actually one of the deadliest attack on CRPF officials. So Dantewada district है both the जैसे this is Chhattisgarh. Somewhere here you will find Dantewada. One of the biggest attack on our security forces. 76 CRPF personnel had to lay down their lives in 2010. After years, वही लिख रहे हैं. So after for years after that, the violence did more claim the lives. It hollowed out states' everyday legitimacy. तो ये बता रही है उसके बाद बहुत सारे नुकसान हुआ etc. But over a period of time, we have seen a reduction and all. Is now free of Maoist insurgency. And Union Home Minister informed the House that India is now free of Maoist insurgency. It is important to acknowledge this has required. तो ये बता रहे हैं how it has been done etc. and all. So you should know about these things, है ना? Over the last decade and a half in our work with dedicated governance plans, some of these difficult regions. One, the security do not complete the journey; they create an opening. What secures the peace divided is government. Okay, so we are talking about this. So we were talking about this Dantewada. We were talking about the left-wing extremism affected region, and then the author was talking about Pradhan through PM Janman, Pradhan Mantri Jan Jati Adivasi Nyay Mahabhiyan, and Dajuga. So PM Janman actually it includes PM Janman for socio-economic development of 75 PBTGs. I've told you one is called as scheduled tribe, another is called as particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Okay, so those scheduled tribe people who are actually worse or they are suffering more, they are called as PVTGs, particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Okay, so they are actually in 18 states and 1 union territory, that is Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Okay, now what happened was in this PM Janman scheme, they are being provided with socio-economic condition, improved socio-economic condition like safe housing, clean drinking water, improve access to education, health, nutrition, telecom connectivity, electrification, etc. Okay, that is what you should be knowing. Similarly, there is the Juga scheme, Dharti Aba Jan Jatiya Gram Utkarsh Abhiyan. Under this, actually, Dharti Aba means Birsa Munda is called as Dharti Aba. And I'm sure you must have read about Munda revolt. So, Dharti Aba Jan Jatiya Gram Utkarsh Abhiyan, under this scheme, actually, there's a flagship scheme to improve infrastructure, health, education, livelihood in tribal areas. That's what you should be knowing. Next, take off article editorial. This is talking about the extension of deadline or ceasefire, because ceasefire was ending on 22nd April. Okay, and Donald Trump said decision to extend the ceasefire with Iran indefinitely underscores the wide gap between social economic victory and declaration. So basically, Donald Trump has extended the ceasefire indefinitely. Okay, that is what you should be knowing. Okay. But I'm sure you must be aware, still USA has done military build-up in Strait of Hormuz region. This is being talked about here. Right? So in Gulf of Oman region, there is US military here, and this is Strait of Hormuz. Okay. And Netanyahu was bombing even after the ceasefire was done. Netanyahu was bombing in Lebanon, so there was like Donald Trump pressurized Netanyahu to have ceasefire in Lebanon, but I think in reality still the wars are happening in those regions as well. Please read this article, US-Iran nuclear deal, career launcher law interest. Here we have discussed about joint comprehensive plan of action or Iran deal. Please watch this. This was done by Barack Obama regime, but in 2018 Donald Trump cancelled it. So at that time it was very much in the news. Next is beyond trade deals to building a new architecture. So there's an article. They're saying India signed 2 trade agreements. India-European Union free trade agreement. And there was with America. Na? So India-European Union free trade agreement was very much in the news. Please watch this class. Na? Because the European Union, 2 European Union officials were in India. Na? And they are actually European Union, European Commission Chairman, Antonio Costa, and European Council Chairman and European Commission Chairperson were there. Na? As Republic Day guest. So 2 European Union officials were Republic Day guest this year. Okay, that's what you should be knowing. So ये बात हो रही है कि we have done India-European Union free trade agreement, है ना? So you can read in detail if you are interested. We have taught in detail in our this class. इस क्लास में हम लोगों ने डिटेल डिस्कस किया India-European Union free trade agreement. और एक चीज और पता होगा, last year Donald Trump had put 25% tariff on India, then further 25% tariff because we were doing trade with Russia. So 50% tariff हो गया था. But in February this year, US Supreme Court struck down saying you are misusing emergency law. And because of which that America had to reduce it to 10% tariff. है ना? So 50% tariff हो गया, तो उसके बाद we did some sort of deal to reduce it to 18%. But जब US Supreme Court decision आया, so that has been cancelled and now there is a 10% tariff only. ठीक है? So this was also in the news. फिर again they are talking about कि India जो है वो जब deal कर सकता है दूसरे country से, we can provide what? UPI system, है ना? Concept of Aadhaar, DigiLocker, है ना? UPI is very good. So we have provided more than 8 countries abroad. 9th वाला शायद Israel भी होने जा रहा है very soon. ठीक है? So these are the things being talked about. Then of course artificial intelligence में we can support also. That is what you should be knowing about. Next, common concerns India and South Korea can coordinate on weathering geopolitical storms. Okay, South Korean president actually Lee Jae-myung was in Delhi. Okay, that is what you should be knowing. So after 8 years, we have seen another South Korean president coming. So for the past 8 years, we have not seen any South Korean president coming to India, but we have seen recently. The 8 years after the last South Korean president and 7 years after Modi ji's trip. So since last visit of Modi ji was 7 years back to Seoul. Seoul is the capital of South Korea. Okay, that is what you should be knowing. Okay, so we are getting a lot of benefit from South Korea. I'm sure you must be aware a lot of steel industries and many other products. Well, a lot of car automobile companies are also there. So that is what is being talked about. So there's been fast tracking of CEPA talks. We are doing CEPA. We have already done comprehensive economic partnership agreement. India had done in May 2022 with UAE. Okay. Similarly, we are planning to do it with Canada also. So similar things are actually planning with South Korea also. So अगर ये हो जाएगा, that will be considered as very good. ठीक है, that is what you should be knowing about. ठीक है. So let's India's capacity to scale a building partnership in critical minerals, quantum computing है ना. So we can have partnership in critical minerals, quantum computing with South Korea, etc. फिर K-pop drama है ना. K-pop, I'm sure those who are Gen Z, they are knowing it. It's very popular in India, and this is from South Korea, but it is being very much popular here. ठीक है. फिर एक और ओपिनियन में आर्टिकल थे, why quotas alone can't increase women's representation. ठीक है. And that is what they're talking about, कि सिर्फ reservation से नहीं होता है, but you have to properly provide them with education and each and everything, and real sense में there has to be empowerment, because there are lot of cases where actually, let's say a reservation is there, let's say 33% reservation is there in panchayats. So a lot of cases their husband are actually doing all the works, and on paper his wife actually is the panchayat head, etc., or something like that. So it means in real sense the reservation has like it has to be done practically, in real sense, not just providing on paper reservation. That is what the author is talking about. You can read it. एक और आर्टिकल थी टेक्स्ट एंड कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, they are talking about Chernobyl disaster, and I'm sure you must. Okay, and this was asked also that before 1991, Ukraine was actually part of which country? So the answer was Soviet Union. This was asked in the CLAT exam also. So इसी पर एक book लिखी गई, इसी का एक book review है ना, Chernobyl disaster that happened. Similarly, we have seen something like that in Bhopal gas tragedy. And as far as I remember, it happened on 2nd December 1984. And 2nd December is observed as National Pollution Control Day because of that only. तो उसको भी आप देख लीजिएगा थोड़ा सा, है ना. Next is shutdown by ethnic groups throw life out of gear in most parts of Manipur. I'm sure you must be aware. We have seen this. I've taken a class last year where I've discussed about Kukis versus Meiteis conflict in Manipur. Now recently, this has actually been very much in the news because again it has the conflicts has arisen. So you can watch this class. Still, this class is relevant. Last year, the chief minister had resigned, and now we are having a new chief minister, Mr. Yumnam Khemchang Singh. But you should be knowing that what is the conflict behind it. You can watch this class. Okay. फिर एक और क्लास थी. So Supreme Court objects to Mamta's act amid ED raid, not a center state law. What happened was there is an organization called as IPEC that was actually politically helping the TMC in fighting elections. The organization. So what happened was during the election time, the ED actually raided the IPEC office, and this raid was stopped by the Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. So the matter went to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court said, no, this is not a center-state dispute because center-state dispute comes under Article 131. The Supreme Court said This is not a center state dispute, but it is a chief minister who walked into the ongoing investigation. So this is an act committed by an individual who acts to the chief minister, and there is no center state dispute here. So जब भी जैसे कोई state 1 और state 2 के बीच dispute होता है, और state versus Union of India के बीच dispute होता है, it directly goes under Article 131. So it is the direct jurisdiction of Supreme Court. That is what you should be knowing about. Next, a world page per article tha, that was talking about Nepal's minister resigning. So I'm sure you must be aware, last year Mr. KP Sharma Oli had to resign because of Gen Z protest. But this year in March we have seen elections. So Mr. Balen Shah became the prime minister from RSP. Okay. So what happened was the home minister Sudhan Gurung, he had to resign. He became the home minister, but because still the protests were there, or things went out of the hand because of financial scrutiny, etc. He had to resign. So ye bhi news mein tha. That is what you should be knowing about. So this is all about today's class. Please subscribe to our channel, press the like button, share this video. Thank you everyone.